You do not need a large orchard to grow fresh fruit. You do not need acres of land. And you certainly do not need to wait until you own a bigger property before planting fruit trees. With the right varieties, a sunny patio, balcony, driveway, or small backyard can produce apples, peaches, lemons, figs, cherries, and several other fruits from containers. The secret is choosing trees that are naturally compact or grafted onto dwarfing rootstock. A regular fruit tree planted in a pot may look manageable during its first year. Then the roots become crowded, the branches grow beyond the space, and the tree begins requiring constant pruning just to survive. A true dwarf or compact variety behaves differently. It stays smaller, begins producing at a more manageable size, and directs more of its energy into fruit, rather than building a massive trunk and canopy. But the word dwarf can be misleading. A dwarf tree is not a houseplant. Many still reach 6, 8, or even 10 feet tall. They need sunlight, strong roots, regular water, feeding, pruning, and sometimes another compatible tree for pollination. Give them those things, and one container can produce fruit for years. Choose the wrong variety or keep it in a tiny decorative pot, and the harvest may never come. In this video, I am showing you 15 high-yield dwarf fruit trees that can grow successfully in containers and what each one needs to produce a real harvest. Some are self-fertile and can fruit alone. Others need a pollination partner. Several can be moved into protection during winter, allowing gardeners in cooler climates to grow fruit that would never survive permanently outdoors. Stay until the end, because number 14 can produce several different types of fruit from what appears to be one small tree. Before we begin, remember that productivity depends on climate, variety, rootstock, container size, pollination, and care. No dwarf tree automatically produces a huge crop simply because it is planted in a pot. The varieties available also differ between countries and nurseries. Always check whether a tree is suited to your growing zone and whether it needs another variety nearby. Now let us get into it. Number 1. Dwarf apple trees. Dwarf apple trees are among the best fruit trees for container gardening. They offer familiar fruit, beautiful spring blossoms, and a wide range of varieties. But the label must be read carefully. An apple variety such as Gala, Fuji, or Honeycrisp is not automatically dwarf. The final size depends heavily on the rootstock beneath the graft. Look for trees clearly labeled dwarf or patio-sized. Some may stay around 6 to 8 feet tall with pruning, while semi-dwarf trees can become much larger. Use a container holding at least 15 to 20 gallons for a young dwarf apple tree. Larger is better for long-term growth. Choose a heavy container with drainage holes so the tree does not blow over when covered in leaves and fruit. Apples need full sun. Give them at least 6 to 8 hours of direct light. Insufficient sunlight creates weak growth, fewer flowers, and poorly ripened fruit. Pollination is another major issue. Many apple varieties need pollen from a different compatible apple that flowers at the same time. 2 trees of the same variety may not solve the problem. Some apples are sold as self-fertile, but even those may produce better crops with a suitable partner. Crabapple trees can sometimes provide compatible pollen, depending on bloom timing. Do not assume a nearby apple will work without checking. Water consistently, especially while fruit is developing. Containers dry faster than garden soil. A tree repeatedly allowed to wilt may drop young fruit. At the same time, constantly wet roots can rot. Feed in spring with a fertilizer suitable for fruit trees, following the instructions. Too much nitrogen creates branches and leaves instead of fruit. Thin, crowded young apples so the tree is not forced to support more fruit than its small root system can handle. This often produces larger, healthier apples and protects branches from breaking. Number 2. Columnar apple trees. Columnar apples are ideal for extremely narrow spaces. Instead of developing a wide spreading canopy, these trees grow mostly upward around one central trunk. They may resemble a vertical pole covered in short fruiting branches. That shape allows you to grow several varieties along a wall, narrow patio, or balcony without losing much floor space. Use a deep, stable container. Although the canopy remains narrow, the tree can become top-heavy when loaded with fruit. A strong stake may be needed. Columnar apples still require full sun, regular water, feeding, and pollination. Their narrow form does not change the basic needs of an apple tree. Many varieties benefit from another compatible apple flowering nearby. Planting two different columnar varieties can provide both pollination and a wider range of fruit. Pruning should be light. Do not cut off every short side branch because those spurs may carry flowers and fruit. Remove damaged growth and shorten overly vigorous shoots according to the variety's needs. Columnar apples can produce an impressive number of fruits for the small area they occupy. They are one of the clearest examples of harvesting vertically instead of spreading across the ground. Number 3. Dwarf peach trees. Dwarf peaches can give you full-sized fruit from a compact tree. Several patio varieties remain short and develop dense, attractive foliage. Some are small enough to look almost ornamental until the peaches begin swelling. Peaches need intense sunlight and warmth. Place the container in the sunniest protected location available. The tree also needs winter chill, but the amount differs by variety. A peach requiring many chill hours may not flower properly in a warm climate. A low-chill variety may bloom too early and suffer frost damage in a colder region. Choose according to your local winter. Many peach varieties are self-fertile. That means one tree can produce fruit without another peach nearby. However, bees and other pollinators still need to move pollen between the flowers. If the tree blooms inside a greenhouse or protected porch with little insect activity, hand pollination may improve fruit set. Use a large container with excellent drainage. Peaches dislike waterlogged roots. Water deeply when the upper soil begins drying, and avoid severe moisture swings while fruit is developing. Peach trees often set more fruit than they can support. Thin the young peaches so they are not packed together. This helps the remaining fruit grow larger and reduces branch strain. Prune during the appropriate season to maintain an open shape and encourage new fruiting wood. Peaches generally fruit on growth produced the previous year, so removing all young wood can remove the crop. Number 4. Dwarf nectarine trees. Nectarines are closely related to peaches. The main visible difference is their smooth skin. Compact nectarine varieties can perform beautifully in containers and produce full-sized fruit from a relatively small tree. Their care is similar to that of dwarf peaches. They need full sun, good drainage, regular watering, and enough winter chill for the selected variety. Many nectarines are self-fertile, making them convenient for gardeners who have room for only one tree. The blossoms are vulnerable to late frost. Because the tree is growing in a container, you may be able to move it beside a wall or into temporary shelter when freezing weather threatens. Do not keep it in a warm indoor room throughout winter. The tree needs dormancy and cool conditions. The purpose of moving it is protection from damaging extremes, not turning it into a tropical houseplant. Thin, crowded fruit and support branches when necessary. A small tree can set a surprisingly heavy crop, and one overloaded branch may split. Number 5. Dwarf cherry trees. Cherries can be challenging in containers, but the right dwarf tree is worth the effort. Look for naturally compact varieties or cherries grafted onto dwarfing rootstock. Some sweet cherries need a compatible pollination partner. Others are self-fertile. Sour or tart cherries are more commonly self-fertile and may remain more manageable. Check the label before buying. A healthy cherry tree can flower heavily and still produce almost nothing when it lacks compatible pollen. Use a large, stable container. Cherries need well-drained soil and dislike roots remaining wet. Full sun improves flowering and fruit sweetness. Birds love cherries. A small container tree can be covered with protective netting more easily than a large orchard tree. Install netting before the fruit becomes fully ripe, and make sure wildlife cannot become trapped. Cherries may crack after heavy rain or sudden watering when they are close to ripening. Maintaining steadier moisture can reduce the risk, although weather still plays a major role. Prune carefully. Cherries can be vulnerable to diseases entering through cuts, and the best pruning time may depend on climate and disease pressure. Follow guidance appropriate for your area rather than pruning automatically in winter. Number 6. Dwarf pear trees. Dwarf pears bring upright growth, spring blossoms, and long-lasting fruit to the container garden. Like apples, their mature size depends on the rootstock. A pear described only by variety name may still become too large. Look for a genuinely dwarf or patio form. Many European and Asian pears need another compatible variety for pollination. Some are partially self-fertile, but crops may improve when a partner blooms nearby. Choose 2 compatible dwarf pears if space allows. Pears naturally grow upright. This makes them easier to fit into narrow areas, but they still require pruning and branch training. Young branches can be encouraged into wider angles, which may improve structure and fruiting. Use a large container and keep the soil evenly moist. Pear trees do not appreciate repeated drought while carrying fruit. At harvest time, many European pears should be picked while mature but still firm, then allowed to ripen indoors. Waiting until they become soft on the tree can result in poor texture. Asian pears are often allowed to ripen more fully on the tree and remain crisp. Know which type you are growing. Number 7. Dwarf plum trees. Plums can produce heavily from relatively compact trees. European, Japanese, and specialty plums have different pollination and climate requirements. Some varieties are self-fertile. Others need a compatible partner. A tree labeled self-fertile may still crop more heavily with cross-pollination, but one tree can be enough where space is limited. Choose a dwarf rootstock and a variety adapted to your winter chill and summer conditions. Place the tree in full sun. Use loose, fertile potting mix and a large container with drainage. Plums sometimes produce an enormous number of small developing fruits. Thin them before they become heavy. An overloaded dwarf tree can break branches, produce small plums, or exhaust itself. Remove damaged, crossing, or poorly placed branches to keep the canopy open. Watch for aphids, scale insects, and other local pests. Container trees are easier to inspect because the canopy remains low enough to reach. 70s Farok. Number 8. Dwarf fig trees. Figs are among the easiest fruit trees to grow in large containers. They naturally tolerate some root restriction and often produce well when their roots are not allowed to spread endlessly. Many common fig varieties do not need another tree for pollination, although the pollination biology of figs varies by type and region. Choose a self-fruitful variety known to produce in your climate. Figs love sunlight and warmth. Place the container in a hot, protected location. Water consistently while fruit is forming. A dry fig may drop fruit, while sudden heavy watering can contribute to splitting. The broad leaves cause containers to lose moisture quickly during summer. Figs can be pruned to remain compact. Fruit may form on old wood, new growth, or both, depending on the variety and crop. Pruning too heavily can reduce production, so understand whether your fig produces an early breba crop, a main crop, or both. In cold climates, a container fig can be moved into an unheated garage, shed, or protected area after dormancy begins. The goal is to keep it cold and dormant while protecting the roots from extreme freezing. Do not bring a dormant fig into a hot living room and force weak winter growth. A large pot may become very heavy, so place it on a strong wheeled platform before filling it. Number 9. Dwarf lemon trees. Lemons are excellent container trees because they respond well to pruning and can be moved indoors during cold weather. Meyer lemon is one of the most popular compact choices. It generally remains smaller than many standard lemons and produces fragrant blossoms and relatively sweet, thin-skinned fruit. Use a well-drained citrus potting mix. Citrus roots need air and will suffer when left in heavy, wet soil. The container must have drainage holes. Place the tree outdoors in full sun during warm weather. When moving it from indoors to strong sunlight, acclimate it gradually so the leaves do not burn. Bring it inside before damaging cold arrives. Indoors, provide the brightest possible window or suitable grow lighting. Dry indoor air can attract spider mites and other pests. Inspect leaves regularly. Citrus is hungry compared with some fruit trees. Use a fertilizer designed for citrus and follow the schedule on the label. Yellow leaves may indicate a nutrient problem, but they can also result from overwatering, cold roots, or poor drainage. Do not add fertilizer blindly. Meyer lemons are generally self-fertile, so one tree can produce. You may need to help pollination indoors by moving pollen between flowers with a soft brush. A healthy container lemon may flower and carry fruit at the same time, creating an attractive and productive patio tree. Number 10. Dwarf lime trees. Limes share many of the same container needs as lemons. They enjoy heat, full sun, regular feeding, and excellent drainage. Key lime can remain relatively compact with pruning and produces small aromatic fruits. Bearse or Persian lime may grow larger, but can still be managed in a substantial container. Limes are highly sensitive to cold. Move them into protection well before frost. Even cool temperatures above freezing can slow growth and cause stress. Indoors, give them strong light and avoid placing the pot beside cold drafts or heating vents. Water when the upper soil begins drying. Do not keep the mix permanently wet. Lime trees may drop leaves when conditions change suddenly. A move from humid outdoor sunlight to dry indoor shade is a major shock. Transition gradually when possible. Self-fertile varieties can produce alone, but hand pollination may help when the tree flowers indoors. Regular harvesting also prevents branches from carrying too much weight. Number 11. Dwarf orange trees. Compact orange trees can transform a sunny patio into a miniature citrus grove. CaliKim29 is a popular container citrus with small orange-colored fruits and fragrant blossoms. The fruit is quite tart and is often used in drinks, marmalades, sauces, or cooking, rather than eaten like a sweet orange. Some dwarf mandarin and sweet orange varieties can also grow in containers. Check the mature size, because not every tree sold in a small nursery pot will remain small. Citrus containers need drainage, warmth, feeding, and full sun. Use a large pot, but do not move a tiny tree directly into an enormous mass of wet soil. Increase container size gradually as the roots grow. Overpotting can leave unused soil wet for too long. Prune lightly to control shape and remove dead growth. Avoid severe pruning that removes the flowering canopy. Citrus trees often flower on the outer growth where sunlight reaches. A compact, healthy orange tree may carry fragrant flowers, green fruit, and ripe fruit at the same time. Number 12. Dwarf pomegranate trees. Pomegranates tolerate heat, intense sunlight, and relatively dry conditions once established. Dwarf pomegranates are especially attractive in containers because they produce bright flowers, small leaves, and colorful fruit. There is an important difference between ornamental dwarf varieties and fruiting varieties. Some extremely small pomegranates produce tiny decorative fruits with little edible value. Choose a compact edible variety when your goal is harvest. Pomegranates need full sun to flower and fruit well. Use a large container with good drainage. Water regularly during establishment and fruit development, but avoid constantly saturated soil. Irregular moisture can contribute to fruit splitting. Many pomegranates are self-fertile, although pollination by insects and the presence of another variety may improve production. The flowers may appear in different forms, and not every blossom develops into fruit. Do not panic when some flowers fall. Prune lightly to maintain several strong stems or a small tree form. Remove suckers if you want a single trunk, or allow selected shoots if you prefer a shrub. Pomegranates fruit on mature short growth, so aggressive pruning can reduce the crop. Number 13. Dwarf mulberry trees. Mulberries are famously vigorous trees, but compact and dwarf forms can be grown in large containers. Dwarf everbearing mulberries are popular because they can produce fruit over an extended period rather than ripening everything at once. Mulberries are generally productive and may begin fruiting while still young. Give the tree full sun and a substantial container. The fruit can stain patios, clothing, hands, and outdoor furniture. Place the pot where fallen berries will not create a serious problem. Birds also love mulberries. Netting may be necessary if you want to keep most of the crop. Choose a safe wildlife-friendly net and check it frequently. Pruning can keep the tree compact, but avoid removing all young productive growth. The exact fruiting habit depends on the variety. Mulberries tolerate heat well once established, but container trees still require regular water because their roots cannot search beyond the pot. Number 14. Multi-grafted fruit trees. A multi-grafted tree carries several compatible varieties grafted onto one root system. You may find apples with multiple varieties, stone fruit trees combining peaches, plums, nectarines, or apricots, and other combinations created by specialist nurseries. These trees are often called fruit salad trees, combination trees, or family trees. They offer a major advantage for small spaces. One container can produce several flavors, colors, or harvest periods. Different apple grafts may also pollinate one another when their bloom times overlap. But a multi-grafted tree requires careful management. One variety may grow much faster than the others. If left alone, the strongest graft can dominate the canopy and shade weaker branches. Prune vigorous sections more often and protect the slower grafts. Clearly label every branch so you do not accidentally remove an entire variety. Not every combination tree is suitable for long-term container growing. Choose one built on dwarfing rootstock and ask about its expected mature size. A standard-size root system carrying several grafts can still become too large. With correct balancing and pruning, a multi-grafted tree can turn one patio pot into a small orchard. Number 15. Dwarf apricot trees. Apricots offer fragrant blossoms and sweet fruit, but they can be difficult in areas with late spring frosts. The tree may bloom early. One freezing night can destroy the flowers and eliminate the crop. Container growing provides an advantage. A small dwarf tree can be moved temporarily into a protected location during dangerous weather. Choose a compact variety with chill requirements suited to your region. Some apricots are self-fertile, while others produce better with another compatible variety. Full sun is essential. Use well-drained potting mix and avoid keeping the roots wet. Thin young fruit, if the tree sets heavily. Apricot branches can break under the weight of an oversized crop. Pruning time is important because apricots may be vulnerable to diseases entering through wet weather cuts. In some climates, pruning during dry summer weather is preferred. Follow local guidance rather than using the same schedule as an apple or pear. A healthy dwarf apricot can reward careful gardeners with fruit that is difficult to find at perfect ripeness in stores. Choose the right container. A fruit tree may remain dwarf above ground, but its roots still need space. Begin with a container appropriate for the young tree, then move into a larger pot as the root system develops. For long-term growth, many dwarf fruit trees need containers holding at least 15 to 25 gallons. Very small patio forms may manage with less, while larger citrus, figs, and combination trees may need more. Drainage holes are essential. Do not place rocks at the bottom and assume they replace drainage. Use a loose potting mix designed for containers. Ordinary garden soil can become dense, heavy, and poorly aerated inside a pot. The container should also be stable. Fruit trees catch wind. A light plastic pot with a tall canopy can tip over and damage branches or roots. Heavy containers are safer, but difficult to move. Wheeled platforms can help, especially for citrus and figs that need seasonal protection. Watering container fruit trees. Container trees dry out faster than trees planted in the ground. During hot or windy weather, check them frequently. Push a finger into the soil. Water deeply when the upper layer begins drying, allowing excess moisture to drain from the bottom. Do not give tiny daily splashes. Shallow watering encourages roots near the surface and may leave the center of the root ball dry. Do not leave the pot standing in water. Fruit trees need moisture and oxygen. Mulch can reduce evaporation, but keep it away from the trunk. A constantly wet trunk base can encourage decay. Moisture consistency is especially important while fruit is swelling. Severe dryness, followed by heavy watering, can contribute to cracking, fruit drop, and stress. Feeding and root maintenance. Container trees cannot send roots into surrounding soil to find more nutrients. Feed them according to the needs of the species. Citrus usually requires more frequent feeding than figs. Apples, pears, peaches, and plums need balanced nutrition without excessive nitrogen. Follow the product label and avoid guessing. Every few years, a tree may become root-bound. Water runs through too quickly, growth slows, and roots circle tightly inside the pot. You may need to move the tree into a larger container or perform careful root pruning during the correct dormant period. Root pruning is not the same as hacking away half the root system during summer. Research the method for the specific tree or get help from an experienced grower. Refresh the potting mix as needed. Remove old compacted material carefully and replace it with clean mix and compost in suitable amounts. Protect the roots during winter. A fruit tree growing in the ground has roots protected by a large mass of soil. In a container, freezing air can surround the root ball from every side. A tree that is hardy in your climate when planted in the ground may suffer root damage in a pot. Move containers beside a protected wall, group them together, wrap the pots with insulating material, or place dormant trees inside an unheated garage or shed where appropriate. Do not assume every tree needs a warm indoor room. Apples, pears, peaches, plums, cherries, and apricots generally require winter dormancy and chilling. Citrus needs warmer protection because it is sensitive to frost. Know which type you are growing. Final recap. Let us go through the 15 dwarf fruit trees one more time. Dwarf apples provide familiar fruit and many variety choices. Columnar apples grow upward in extremely narrow spaces. Dwarf peaches produce full-sized fruit on compact trees. Dwarf nectarines offer smooth-skinned fruit and beautiful spring flowers. Dwarf cherries can produce sweet or tart fruit from a reachable canopy. Dwarf pears fit naturally into narrow spaces with their upright growth. Dwarf plums can carry heavy crops when properly thinned. Figs tolerate container life and can be moved into winter protection. Meyer lemons combine fragrant blossoms with useful fruit. Dwarf limes thrive in warm, sunny containers. Compact oranges and calamondins add color, fragrance, and harvest to patios. Dwarf pomegranates handle heat and produce striking flowers. Dwarf mulberries can fruit repeatedly from a manageable tree. Multi-grafted trees produce several varieties from one root system, and dwarf apricots provide exceptional fruit when their early blossoms are protected. The most important step is not buying the tree with the prettiest photograph. It is reading the label. Check the mature size. Check the rootstock. Check whether the tree is self-fertile. Check its chill requirement. Check whether your winters are too cold or too warm. Then give the tree a large container, excellent drainage, full sun, steady water, correct feeding, and enough time to mature. A dwarf fruit tree is not an instant harvest. It is a long-term investment. Care for it properly, and the same container may give you blossoms every spring, shade every summer, and fresh fruit for many years. You may never have enough land for a traditional orchard. But with 15 carefully chosen containers, you can build a productive miniature orchard almost anywhere. If this video gave you ideas for your patio or small garden, hit the like button and share it with someone who believes fruit trees require a huge backyard. Subscribe for more practical gardening advice that helps you grow more food in less space. And leave a comment telling me which dwarf fruit tree you would plant first. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.